Prologue. I See You is a short story that follows a police officer, Officer Ray, of a small town as he attempts to solve a missing child case. Officer Ray commits and becomes invested into solving this case that he is willing to sacrifice his own sanity. The townspeople eventually take notice and start to question his mental health. Just when it appears Officer Ray has exhausted all leads and resources, he begins to experience and stumble upon paranormal clues on the missing child's case. He starts to question his own sanity and wonders if he can piece together the puzzle or risk losing his reputation and career and end up in a psychiatric ward. Chapter 1. Pilot. As I sit in my patrol car looking out my window, I can't help but to think that nothing ever happens in this town. Maybe that's a good thing. My fourth grade teacher always told us that no one would ever pay us to look out a window. Yet here I am watching traffic pass me by. Every time I see another car pass by on this highway, I can't help but to wonder where they are going. Are they headed to work? Passing by on a road trip? Are they on their way to do something stupid? Do they even know where they're at? Then I see their brake lights come on, and I can imagine they will remember this small town police officer next time they pass through, even if they were already going the speed limit to begin with. Before I could finish thinking of the possibilities why else people would be passing through this small town of 400, my radar starts to drown out my Irish pub music I had playing on Spotify with. It's unmistakable. High-pitched squelching, only the speed of a 77-mile-per-hour car could make. I shifted my Ford into gear, took off after the speeding Hyundai, and turned on the dreaded red and blue lights every driver hates to see in their rear-view mirror. The car quickly started slowing down and came to stop on the side of the highway just as quickly as he saw me. I walked up to the driver's side door, introduced myself as Officer Ray with the Hatcher Pass Police Department, and before I could even tell the driver why I pulled him over, he interrupted me and said,
Yeah, I know the drill. I'm in a hurry. Can we make this quick?
I asked, "Sir, are you aware you're doing 77 in a 55? He responded with a sarcastic yet annoyed tone and said,
I thought I was going faster so I wouldn't have to see this hillbilly town any longer than I had to. I can't believe this town even has a cop.
just when I thought I've heard every excuse in the book throughout my 10-year career in law enforcement, it was a little refreshing to hear someone speak the truth for a change, even if he did intend to drop an insult along with it. I walked back to my patrol car with the thought I may let this guy go without a ticket. Everyone else I've pulled over for speeding today gave me the lame excuses that they're not from around here, so they don't know what the limit is. Or they just had an oil change, so the car was going faster than what the speedometer read. I realized that no matter what, if I were to ticket him or not, he won't learn his lesson and speed away, regardless. All right, sir, I did issue you a cite,
Of course you did. You small-town cops have a quota to make.
he shouted out as he interrupted me. I was anticipating him showing some sort of attitude, so I hit him with, "No, sir, they don't limit me to a quota." Even the pastor I just pulled over with 2 prostitutes got his ticket because he couldn't wait to get to the lodge down the road. He looked at me like I just stepped on his dog looking for something to say, but came up with an error message instead. I proceeded to wrap up our conversation by giving him his speeding ticket and explaining he can contest this ticket and court, but he would have to pass back through the small hillbilly town. After looking at his ticket, he finally mustered up something to say and said,
I'll just pay your little ticket so I don't have to come back here.
"Fair enough," I said as I walked back to my Ford and watched Mr. City Slicker drive away in his Hyundai. Looking to lighten the mood back, I decided to head to the gas station and get some chicken tenders to get through the day. "I'll take 3, Ms. Laurie."
Ranch dressing, Mr. Ray?
"You know me so well, even after coming in here for 10 years?
Honey, I know everyone that walks through those 2 doors.
I bet you do. Thank you for the tenders.
Of course. How's the day treating you so far?
I'm on this side of the ground, so I don't have anything to complain about. How about you?"
Only 6 more months to go and I'm eligible for retirement.
"That sounds very nice. I've got about 20 years to go," I said. Ms. Laurie laughed at me, asked how old I was.
30 years old?
I said, "Thanks, but I'm 38 shortly." Ms. Laurie told me to not rush into it, because the day will come when you've realized it went by so fast, and I'm going to wish I had appreciated it just a little more. I told her about my pleasant encounter with Mr. City Slicker. Ms. Laurie laughed it off and said,
The city folk never have time for good conversation and manners.
I waved bye to Ms. Laurie as I started on a chicken tender, and wrapped up the shift by checking on the bar, which was the only other business in Hillbillyville, realizing it's nice to know people by their first names in such a small town where nothing happens, and I'm thankful for that. Once I got to the bar, I greeted the 5 people sitting at the bar and Patty, the bartender. Patty told me she could hear my sirens from the highway, pulling people over, and said people pass through Hatcher Pass and assume there's no police in the area. So they gun it not caring. There are people that live off the highway. No one ever mentions it, but years back, before I got into law enforcement, a little boy chased his ball out onto the highway, and a car that was passing through didn't have time to react, couldn't hit the brakes in time. The whole town mourned, and no one ever talks about. Even the few people in town that dislike police won't argue or say anything to me for writing speeding tickets. The locals that see running radar on the highway will even flash a little smile or a thank you towards me, and I feel like I'm doing the right thing. I headed home, cooked my usual salmon and broccoli, and went to bed wondering if the cars I'll be seeing for tomorrow's shift will be up to. Just passing through. Will Mr. City Slicker be coming back? As I decided to watch some YouTube since I wasn't tired, and hopefully some racing videos will tire me out, and did. I felt like I wasn't asleep for too long as I woke up before my alarm clock went off. That usually doesn't happen when I work mornings because I don't like mornings. I tend to sleep better when the sun rises, as opposed to during the night like most people. I looked at my phone, which showed 4:19 a.m. I figured I'd get up since I went to bed a little earlier than usual, and my alarm was set for 5 a.m. As I was getting ready to start my shift, I couldn't help but to think of the odd dream I had the night before. All I could remember was an old-looking tree and nothing else. The tree branches were swaying with the night breeze, but nothing else was in sight. I made it to work and sat on the highway as I usually do, looking at traffic pass me by, playing the guessing game where they are headed to 1 p.m. Rolled around and I was thinking of going to check on Ms. Lori at the gas station and seeing how she was doing. I know she appreciates it when I check on her. Just before I could shift my Ford into drive, I heard a motorcycle headed towards me. The way his engine was singing, I could tell he was moving. I activated my radar, which showed a speed of 91 miles per hour on the motorcycle. I shifted into drive and turned on my lights and siren and took off after the motorcycle just as he noticed me. Most of the county deputies won't bother chasing motorcycles since they end up running and driving like maniacs, so they won't even try. Me, being the only officer in the small department, figured I'd at least try and let this guy know I'm not going to be a pushover. He probably thought I wouldn't even try to get him, because he didn't speed up. But at the same time, he wasn't slowing down. I nearly caught up to him as I called in over the radio to the county's dispatch that I was in pursuit of a green and white crotch rocket with the driver wearing a pink helmet with a purple mohawk on top of the helmet. The guy stood out like a sore thumb. I even surprised the guy to the point that I was able to catch the last digit of his license plate to be 419. That's when he must have looked over his shoulder and seen me, because we were on the part of the highway where it was straight and flat for 3 miles. He realized he had a golden opportunity and opened it up. All I heard was his engine scream, and he was gone as he weaved in and out of traffic on the shoulder and opposite lane of the highway. I had my Ford maxed out at 132 miles per hour before I realized I was no match for that crotch rocket and radioed into dispatch to 1022, the pursuit. Dispatch asked me to confirm a green and white motorcycle with the driver wearing a pink helmet with a purple mohawk. I confirmed and dispatched, notified the county deputies. I don't like losing pursuits, but I knew I was outmatched when it comes to a crotch rocket motorcycle. I turned off my lights and siren and headed back to Hillbillyville. I went back to the bar because I knew Patty was dying to ask me what had happened. Patty had been working at the bar longer than I had been the town's police officer. She knows if she can hear my siren for longer than 5 seconds, something serious is going down. I walked in, and before I made it inside, Patty was at the door with a tea and asked all about it. I told her I was no match for a motorcycle, and my old Ford couldn't keep up. As I finished storytelling time and was about to leave, an older gentleman walked through the door. We all looked at him, because we knew he wasn't a local. He looked at me and asked if I was the cop that couldn't keep up with the motorcycle. And I said, my car ran out of gas. As a joke. He held out his hand and gave me a wallet and said, this wallet fell out of the guy's pocket as we passed him when he pulled over. There's even his driver's license inside. I started laughing as I could not believe it. That's something that could only happen on America's dumbest criminals. I opened a wallet and found the driver's license staring right at me. I radioed into dispatch to run the idiot's driver's license, and dispatch stated no record was on file. A closer look at the driver's license, and I realized it was a fake ID. A lot of people don't know this, but with the state driver's licenses, the file number is not random and has a meaning. The birth year of the person it belongs to is in the file number, and his was not confirming it to be fake. Going from an adrenaline rush to disappointment to excitement, back to even more disappointment, was one heck of a roller coaster ride. Now I felt like an even bigger idiot after getting hyped up over a fake ID. I thanked the older man for taking the time and risk to picking the wallet up from the highway and giving it to me. I returned back to the police station and started to log the wallet into evidence. I took a picture of it just showing the outside of the wallet and posted it to the department's Facebook page as a lost item to see if the actual owner would be stupid enough to claim it. As I was logging the wallet, I realized I was too amped up at the time to see what this person chose as a fake name. Kathy Ronald. Interesting choice of a name, but smart to not pick something too jazzy that would make people question if that's your real name or not. Still disappointed, I went through the wallet ever so briefly. A $5 bill, a key, someone's picture, and 2 AAA batteries. Very odd, but obviously a wallet belonging to someone hiding a lot. Usually people keep a bank card and insurance in there, but those weren't anywhere to be found. I got so caught up in what could have been a story to tell for the rest of my life that when I checked the time, I was 15 minutes past my shift. I tossed the wallet into the evidence locker and drove home wondering if anyone would claim the wallet on Facebook and wondering how many jokes I would get claiming to own the wallet only if there were money inside.